What's up? We're live. Okay. All right, fellas, boys, girls, gentlemen, ladies of the night, gentlemen of the streets. Here I am. I don't even know if this is gonna be episode 3. Oh, dang, I'm short. This is my new chair. Let's see if it'll pop up. Nope. Well, hold on. Okay, that's more appropriate. Okay, a little OCD there. Anyways, I don't know. Somebody might walk out in the middle of this, and that's all good. But why am I here? This won't age well. Guess what? I'm making things that won't age well right now as we speak. And that's all good because you know what? That means I'm open to taking an L on whatever level I have to. Not a big deal. But I'm not going to make it 45 minutes because I couldn't stand watching 45 minutes of myself. Okay. But okay, so this is very specific. And I promise, I don't love being political. I really don't. But at this point, I don't even know if this is political anymore. This might be eschatological. Look it up. So, what is going on? Okay, now, we are the frog in the boiling pot. And they've turned up the heat degree by degree. And we've gotten used to every little encroachment into normalcy and orthodoxy. And it's like, here we are. And it is just Twilight Zone. It is absolute Twilight Zone. Things and it's gaslighting. We're being gaslit. And so if you don't know what gaslighting is, I fell in love with the term gaslighting because gaslighting is based off some show back in the 30s. And in the show, the husband is playing tricks on his wife. So his wife, she's walking around the house and she's like, honey, did you move the lamp? And he's like, no, honey, no, we didn't move the lamp. And she's like, oh, okay, I thought I swear. And then so the things start getting crazier. He starts moving couches. Honey, did you move the couch? No, honey, no, I didn't do that. And so he starts convincing her she's crazy because things are moving. And he's saying, no, that didn't happen. Or you feeling okay, right? And then eventually I think I've never seen the movie. I just read the Wikipedia entry. But I think eventually it came to a climax where he started making lights flicker or whatever, so she just went insane. But the movie was called, I think, Gaslight or something like that. So it's a psychological term, gaslighting, for that very tactic of convincing people against their better judgment that nothing's happening. Or it's basically just a way to, I don't know, convince people that what they see ain't real. 2 + 2 = 5, guys. So anyways, I'm trying to go stay on a track. And so it's important. It's important to call these things out. Let me get into it and I'm being honest, I'm being open. I'm going to be as rational as I can. Not try to get too crazy. Because how do you make sense of all of this stuff? Because for me, I've been in this realm of knowing the agenda, or I guess quote unquote knowing, allegedly knowing. I don't know anything. That's why this won't age well. Great name. But, and I'm sorry, I'm dipping. It's late at night. It's my time. I didn't even know I was going to do this. I hopped on here, so it helps me think. And it's something I do. And you know what? I'm just going to set this right here. So let's get to it. I'm serious. Okay, guys? Follow me on this. So I have 10 people who watch this. And I want to go ahead and catch Matt. I got 2 friends who do a podcast. I forget their names, but I think it's Mattakaya and Zechariah. And it's life on the farm, and they're really Amish. And I was in the military with these guys. And no, that was a complete joke. It's Matt and Zach, and their podcast is called Untapped. not gonna lie, those two guys, I owe This Won't Age Well to them, because, or at least the beginning of it. I would have probably never started this had it not just been for Matt and Zach having the balls to do theirs, which in turn kindled that fire. And I said, you know what? Those go-getters have rubbed off on me, and now I'm a getter of going. And I did it. And here I am, sounding stupid, making content that will not age well. That's fine. But, you know what? I'm going to grow up, okay? I will grow up. I've grown up a lot to get here. I'll grow up more in the future. Okay, but... So, shout out. Yo, Matt, Zach, what's up? Holler at me, okay? It's your boy. Throw me some of them supporters you got, I guess. And, but that's not what I'm here for. I'm here to just talk, you know? I enjoy this. I enjoy doing this. It's fun for me. And so, clout in a following is not something that is my priority. Obviously, the more people who listen, I'm doing better at this. So it's a net good for that to happen. But I'm not waking up every day checking my view counts, if you know what I mean. So anyways, where are we at? Let's go ahead and just establish like a little bit of some guidelines, and I can just bounce around inside of a box. What happened? So, the President of the United States has gotten banned from his Twitter account, along with the crew. I don't know how many. Bunches. I'll tell you what. I was a part of those people who was in the Twitter sphere, you know, shaking things up. I didn't get banned. I was close. Probably not. But I was sad. I was sad I didn't get banned. I was actually so sad. Oh, there's my WikiLeaks. WikiLeaks, don't go on there. I was so sad, in fact, that I tweeted. I went and taunted old Jack Dorsey. That's a cross between a donkey and a horse. And it was pretty funny. One of them specifically I thought was just a real zinger. And yeah, I toot my own horn here. This is Toot My Own Horn podcast. So I said, damn, just missed the purge. I really just like feeling like I was part of the group. Sad face. The totalitarian tech overlords didn't even notice me. This kind of feels like I Am Legend. Just me and my dog, alone, in an empty city of zombies. Last try. Hashtag Biden crime family exposed. No likes, no comments, no retweets. 34 impressions. Impressive. That's about on par for everything I do. Or actually, the better one that was even, I'm not gonna. Remember, okay, the box, right? What's happened? Okay. Everybody got banned, right? Everybody's banned. Speech, you know, everybody's having too much to think. You know, there's a limit, right? There's a legal limit of how much thoughts you can have in your bloodstream. And, you know, if you're like over woke 08, then you have had too much to think. So you're getting the nightstick of suspension. What does that mean? Well, Dan Bongino has sent out the bat signal saying Parler is going to be the platform for free speech. And of course, look, if you don't know about the mainstream media and you still think that they're a reputable place for news, okay, what I'm going to say is going to sound like things that just don't make sense because you don't understand that the mainstream outlets are garbage. They're horse shit, okay? They're Dorse shit. That's a donkey and a horse. A small one's called a Dorsey. So, it's just, they don't tell you what you need to know. because people, I know, and it's the term fake news, like, well, it's not fake, it's real news. It's weaponized truth with a mixture of lying by omission, with a mixture of flavoring their own woke bullshit into it, right? It's hard to discern reality, and especially when you understand how manipulative what you're watching is. So what I was trying to get at, they would make you think Parler is some type of KKK rally, you know, and it's just hoods and damn swastikas and all that stuff. Okay, let me give you a little bit of history about where I come from. Where I grew up, it was somewhere in the southern region of this nation, and there was actual KKK. The real Ku Klux Klans, them cyclopses and them wizards, and they actually did things in the area. I actually never physically saw one, but you know, when the Klan would be around, you just get word, right? And so, you know, I grew up where it was real, like the Klan and stuff. And like, you know, the racism growing up was real. It was like part of the culture. So I grew up through it. I joined the military. I became a man in the military amongst all different types of friends, people, whatever. So I'm a cultured person. And I don't even have to say it. But no, I don't fall into the category of a white supremacist or any type of, you know, racially motivated cleansing Nazi yada yada whatever. It's not anything that's ever crossed my mind, nor is it ever going to be, because that's actually kind of a leftist ideology, the identity politics. You know, a funny video, if you've never seen it, it's a satirical skit about how the super woke lefty and the racist are like identical in their views. And I'm not going to describe it, but I'm serious. It's so funny because they do just go through this whole spiel and they do align on many different things, because identity politics is identity politics. Whether you believe in white or black or whatever the color, identity politics is a lefty thing. And, you know, for me, it's all about judging someone. And if you roll your eyes, you might be a lefty, right? But when I say judging somebody on the merit of their character, that doesn't seem so damn radical to me. That actually sounds just about the best it gets, you know? So regardless of what I look like, I could look like a dang alien. And if I show up to work on time and I do my damn job, and I will get judged based off that, that sounds great. And I think that kind of works itself out and fixes racism right there in its tracks. Anyways, Parler was not full of KKK members, right? Because I think our definition of racist has become so flimsy that it means not a damn thing. If I get called a racist, it's like, oh, they just don't like me. Oh, they're just politically opposed to me. When people forget that racism does not look like that. Racism does not look like a conservative saying political things out loud, or even, you know, politically incorrect things that, you know, are inherently true, because the truth, after it's been suppressed for so damn long, when it rears its head, it looks ugly and it hurts to hear. There's a lot of things that are true that are hard to face, but I think it's kind of our responsibility to deal in truth and not anything else, because it's self-evident that gets you better things. The outcomes are better, okay? But what I'm getting around to, okay? This is all gonna go somewhere eventually. I'm very Kanye Westy with my skip to the side with my train of thought, but anyway, so moving forward, this is what we're gonna do. Everybody's banned. And old Dan Bongino said Parler was the joint, brother. Get there now. Holler at your boy on Parler. That's what they were saying. So I went there. I went there in April. I've been a member of the old Parler for a while. I was in the Parler, our ice cream parlor, and it sucked. It was like Twitter's, stepchild with Down syndrome. It was terrible. It didn't work right. Even before the max exodus of conservatives from Twitter, it just was terrible. So I barely ever used it. But, when the time came and then everybody got banned, I started going there to see what was up. And it sucked. And how long did it last? What, 2 days? Bongino? Bro, 2 days? You out here saying, this is the place, bro. Bring your, we're free and stuff. Freedom, dude. And then what, you get shut down in 2 days? You lasted 2 days in the face of the totalitarian, banning of speech? 2 days? I'm beginning to question whether you was part of them to say, look, everybody over here at Parler, and then it gets rid of it. And then guess what? Gab can't pick up the slack because Gab sucks too. It looks good, though, aesthetically speaking. I'm already a fan of Gab. I think Gab is better. And apparently they got their own metal, meaning servers, where they can handle their own business. And, Amazon ain't got their balls in a vice saying, well, we don't like you, so too bad, Oh man, I meant to censor myself as far as saying flag words. But so you might hear me try and not say a couple things because I'm pretty sure the AI that they use to flag words that are, anti-truth. No, I guess, well, for the people who are anti-truth, they would see those and say, oh no, way too real for people to hear. You've had too much to think. Go ahead and tone that down. So, you might hear me do that. Chances are I forget completely. Parler sucked. Got shot down. Completely gone. And it wasn't even right-wing conspiracy theorists say that we're trying to shut down their speech. It's just out in the open. It's just, this is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with for realsies, severe lockdowns on views in whatever, and it's all painted under the guise that there's some mass white supremacist thing happening. Okay, and to which it's I have not been in the club, this big network of KKK guys or whatever, or Nazis or whatever. I haven't even seen a flyer, nor have they even shot me a DM or anything. And you know what? I kind of fit the bill. I guess, I don't know. I don't know who they're recruiting, but it wasn't me at any point in time. So what I'm trying to say is that the threat of domestic white supremacist terrorism is way blown out of proportion, okay? And you can disagree with that. And we can discuss that, and I'm not going to get mad, because guess what? That's not my group, right? The lack of or overrepresentation of any type of existence of a KKK or white supremacist national terrorist organization does not bother me one bit. If it's there, it's there. If it's not, it's not. And I don't think it is, right? Show me the things. It's not to say there is not a Klan rally happening, but I'll tell you what, if somebody in this day and age is you know what, I think I might just attach myself to some type of white supremacist group to really feel like I fit in. Okay, they're not going that far in life anyways, because that's about the least intelligent thought that could cross anyone's mind in 2020, actually from any time in the last decade. So you're not dealing with any type of threatening people as far as intellect goes. So if they are trying to coordinate and, I don't know, reignite the Third Reich or something, I don't think they're going to make it. I just don't think they're going to do it. Because They can't be that high caliber of people. Moving on. So, here we are. You know, a lot of people, and I said it, and I said it in the last podcast, for reasons that I wouldn't go into, I thought, and this was on the 6th, when the Capitol hooligans happened. I said, for reasons I can't get into, I still think Trump has a chance. Now, what was that about? How could I even say that? Well, let me just lay it out to you. Okay, so let's rewind the clock back to circa 2018. Okay, and ran into the narrative that they would call CUE. What does that spell? It rhymes with U and starts with a Q. Okay, if I say it, I think they might flag me. I don't know, but maybe I can figure out a way to say it better. But anyways, that is the thing that I ran into. And if you think it's some type of white supremacist radicalization program, it's not. It's not. I'm sorry if that burst your bubble, but it's not. It's many things, but it is not that. Perhaps there are those type of people who are following the information, although that is not what the information is pertaining to. And I'm not here to say that it's real. I'm not here to say that you should be a part of it. What I'm here to say is that it happened. And what was it? And is it legit? And by legit, I don't mean is it right. And by legit, I don't mean will it come true. What I mean is like whatever it was objectively carried out by people who are connected at very high levels of government. And I think I could probably prove that to you. So, I mean, here I am. I'm on. If you wanted to see it, all you have to do is go to the letter CUE AGG.news. Okay? It's a website. Maybe I probably won't. But it's comprised of 4,954 posts. Okay? And each of them are just more or less informational, whatever. I don't know. So, like I said, circa 2018, I got into this. Or I guess I was dabbling because I didn't believe it. I did not believe it at first. It took about 6 months for me to even entertain that this was a reality. But then it began to get more and more real. And then it became more and more clear that this was not nothing. So I don't know really how to explain it other than the best way to go about this, if you were interested in what I'm looking into, and this is quag.news, that's a good way to say it, quag.news, right? And it's a website, and it's got all these things archived, and it's nothing crazy. Just go here, take a look, if you're interested. If you ain't, I don't care. So what I do, you go on the website, and you can look at everything that they have there, from the beginning to the end, okay? And I think it's important for people to check this out, because I know a lot of people out there are banking on this plan, as set forth by this dude, to become a reality. And not only become a reality in the next 7 days. And it's becoming increasingly less likely with each day that passes. So, in a nutshell, this began to manifest in 2017. And it was just kind of some, I don't know, cryptic, not even cryptic, but just a lot of information, but posed in the form of questions. Out of the 4,000, here is one of them. So, my fellow Americans, over the course of the next several days, you will undoubtedly realize that we are taking back our great country, the land of the free, from the evil tyrants that wish to do us harm and destroy the last remaining refuge of shining light. On POTUS order, we have initiated certain fail-safes that shall safeguard the public from the primary fallout, which is slated to occur 11.3. Speculation as to what it is, I ain't going into it. Upon the announcement of Mr. Podesta, actionable 11.4. So that's talking about John Podesta, the Obama-era dude, I don't know. Confirmation to the public of what is occurring will then be revealed and will not openly be accepted. Public riots are being organized in serious numbers in an effort to prevent the arrest and capture of more senior public officials. On POTUS order, a state of temporary military control will be actioned and special ops carried out. False leaks have been made to retain several within the confines of the United States to prevent extradition and special operator necessity. Rest assured, the safety and well-being of every man, woman, and child of this country is being exhausted in full. However, the atmosphere within the country will unfortunately be divided, as so many have fallen for the corrupt and evil narrative that has long been broadcast. We will be initiating the emergency broadcast system, EMS, during this time in an effort to provide a direct message, avoiding the fake news to all citizens. Organizations and or people that wish to do us harm during this time will be met with swift fury. Certain laws have been pre-lifted to provide our great military the necessity and authority to handle and conduct these operations at home and abroad. Okay. Now, this was said, I think earlier than this, but this post was posted on November 1st of 2017. That's a long time ago. That's before I even heard of this stuff. Okay, and so it is assumed that this is discussing the events that are unfolding now. All of this, most of this, was discussing events that are happening now. So, I guess what I would want to do is implore you to look it up for yourself. Don't take it from me, because I don't even know whether this is real or will be carried out. Because there's options as to what this whole thing in its entirety, what the goal was. But so that's one post. Now let me just briefly sum up what this was. So it seems as if this person was laying forth a narrative for informational purposes to bring some of the people across the world up to speed. Meaning giving very, I guess conspiratorial information that would let them in on the bigger picture. And the bigger picture involves the world. I mean, there's everything from other countries and there's the child trafficking, and all of the evil and the darkness. And it's kind of just a way for people to just get let in to the secrets a little bit. Now, basically what it was saying, that in 2016, so this was put out by Patrick Byrne, the Overstock CEO. He personally facilitated the meeting between Hillary Clinton and a donor that was going to give her $18 million. This was going to be a bribe. So Patrick Byrne, the Overstock CEO, his job was to facilitate the meeting so that Hillary could get 15 minutes alone with whatever the donor dude was, and during that time it would be off her schedule, but she would be present, and then, if she took the money, that was a bribe. Because it was presented under the guise of a bribe, but it was supposed to be an FBI sting operation. And so this guy says, I thought I was doing a sting. I thought I was, in support of federal law enforcement. And come to find out, nothing ever came of it. So she took the money. She got the money. And then the FBI never did anything. So I don't know. They eventually got back to him and said, look, Patty boy, let me tell you something. We ain't doing what you thought we was doing. Because what happened was Barack Obama had his people, far and wide, whatever. And the goal was to have leverage on Hillary Clinton. So when she won the election, if she played ball and she was defending Obamacare and doing the things that she was supposed to do, they'd leave her alone. But if she started getting out of line, they could turn the heat up, they could turn the heat down, whatever. They'd have her controlled. And that was the gist of that situation. So, cut to the election, what happened? Well, it didn't manifest. Hillary didn't make it. The narrative, as according to this dude, is basically what had happened was the people who were slated to use fraud or whatever type of method to steal the election then were going to... They got told that we have the information, i.e. the good guys, okay? and there's a separation between white hat, black hat, right? Hackers, whatever. That's just what they call themselves. So wizards, warlocks, whatever they want to call themselves. So these good guys, good guys said, we have all the information. If you try and steal it, and you try to do some fraud stuff, we're going to release it all. We're going to release it all. Irreparable damage will be occurring. And according to this, that information, if released, would be catastrophic. There would be no recovering from that. So it was not a reality or a future that any president can go into. So they had that to deal with, and apparently it worked because they didn't do any fraud. And here there it was, and Trump was able to win. So what happens to all the money that was given to Hillary Clinton and donated into her foundation? Because apparently there was a lot of money, some to the tune of $1 billion, was put into her foundation for security purposes and for influence, and for, basically they were buying the presidency of the United States, so they could use that to their advantage and basically have old HRC in their pocket, and they'd be all deep statey up there, and that's the narrative, allegedly, right? Well, so then when she didn't win, there was a need for that to get paid back. So the reason we did the Iran deal, Barack Obama negotiated the Iran deal and then was able to drop off $1 billion in cash. That was apparently in support of paying back this debt in which this group of high-level corrupt politicians needed to pay back to some even more high-level corrupt people. So that was what that was about. So then we have 4 years of those people trying to go down a road of impeaching the president. As we know, the entire Russia story was a complete hoax. It never manifested in anything legitimate. And here's the thing: people think it's like I'm a partisan cheerleader for old Trump. No, I'm not. Like if they would have been like, oh, Trump was colluding with Russia, I'd be like, well then fuck. All right, what do we do? My allegiance to Trump or anything of that nature does not outweigh the law. Like the law is the law, and I mean, as just a everyday Joe, I understand the necessity of following it, and I also see how the elites don't have to. So, anyways, we saw the 4 years, okay. And if you look and man, I hate Trump, I hate the guy, I hate him. Like, man, okay, that's cool. And I understand why people hate him. Because there's no shortage of places to, get that bias confirmed for you. And I mean, some would argue there's no shortage of places for you to get your bias confirmed for him. And, tomato. But the question is, was Donald Trump a true patriot? Do you think he was, or do you think he wasn't? Well, I know he was. So was Donald Trump there for any reason other than doing a good job as president? And I think the answer to that is no, he wasn't there for anything other than that. The entire endeavor was a net bad for the guy. It did not work out well for him. Okay. Now, I'm running out of time here, so I want to get straight down to it. Okay. Why do I still think, and I don't still think, but why do I say there's a possibility that something might go down? Okay, so it's because of this whole thing I was discussing earlier. So the end narrative for this thing is that there will be a military lockdown. They're going to round up the bad guys, and then guess what? Sunshine and rainbows on the other side, okay? Believe me, yeah, it sounds extremely unlikely. And it feels extremely unlikely. I have reasons to think that maybe that was by design for it to feel this way at this point in time. But I don't know. So here we are. We have 7 more days, and Trump is still in the position of being able to control the military, because there are things that have happened. I mean, there's 20,000 National Guard troops at the Capitol right now. And that's always been the narrative, is that National Guard, in conjunction with the Marines, in conjunction with some other, I don't even know, people, operators, whoever, they would be using this period of time to go around and put people in cuffs and basically use they're conducting law enforcement. So for the military to conduct law enforcement, it has to happen under a very specific set of circumstances. So the Posse Comitatus Act is what prevents that from being available. So I think that the loophole, or really the unlocking mechanism to lift Posse Comitatus, would be, any situation that would deem it necessary at like the local law enforcement refused to quell insurrection, or the local law enforcement refused to prosecute or to even do their job, and then just say that there was a national emergency, or maybe, I don't know, a freaking pandemic, yada yada. I said that, but I don't think COVID ain't real. I know COVID's real, but it was released for a specific reason. And so we can get into that on another thing. So anyways, there is actual, like, legitimate legal ways that military could be engaged in federal law enforcement right now. And that's Posse Comitatus, and it would be also somewhat due to the Insurrection Act. I don't know, there's some, I'm not an expert. So anyways, and apparently it was supposed to happen, it was put out that it was the only way that any of this would happen. So it kind of, like, just by a theory of deduction, you would have to think, well, if he had just won the election, then military wouldn't have been the only way. And I don't think it's about Trump remaining, right? I don't think there was ever any, explicit explanation that he has to be there for the next 4 years. It's because maybe it's not that, but the only real, I guess, thing that was put out was that it would be military going around and rounding up the bad guys. Now, if that comes to fruition, well, I guess cool. I mean, it needs to happen. This ain't like go around and round up the DNC, because the amount of Republicans that would be implicated in this is also very staggering. So I mean, it's a bipartisan effort to root out any corruption, any and all corruption. Doesn't matter who it is. You're not exempt because you believe a certain thing politically. But so that's the story. The military is going to come in and do the job. Now, we have 7 days in which I would theorize that's about all you got. You ain't got much more than that. Because, fraudulent or not, Joe Biden's getting in that White House on the 20th. I think, by Zoom call, maybe. I don't know what's going to happen there. But now, at that point, who's the commander-in-chief? Well, that ain't Trump no more, right? You done handed it over, right? And I will say, if it does go to the 20th, Biden gets in, and then we just never see anything else about this, boy, that was the biggest waste of my damn time I've ever been a part of. And for me, if Biden gets in and I have to deal with that, I mean, it's just what we have to deal with. But with this whole thing, people have their eggs in this basket. So any method of saying, hey, we need to do something about the fraudulent election. People are so engaged in this. There's no plan B. It's almost like, if this ain't going down, old dude needs to come out and say it, because we still have a problem to deal with. If you ain't gonna do it, I mean, we still gotta kind of realize that, man, we might be like super screwed here. And that's how I see it here. So I mean, that is what I feel is going to be manifest within the next 7 days. I might be wrong, and because every day that passes and it doesn't happen, obviously it's less and less likely. And if it doesn't happen, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to be devastated, because there's way too many, like, nobody can claim to know this type of stuff with any degree of certainty, because nobody is involved in it. And you have no idea who this person is. And you have zero clue. There's way too much confusion. It's way too convoluted. It's way too good to be true. It's way too far-fetched. There's way too many's, if you catch my drift. And that is an issue. That is a crazy, crazy issue. But I guess my point of doing this is because I don't think anybody really clearly lays it out as to what this is. Because I'm not coming from a place where it's like, I'm a fanboy for this, or this is what I like rest my life on right now, because I don't do that. Because I like to deal in truth, and I like to deal in reality, and I like to deal in things that are tangible. And so what is reality is that things are changing. There is a major shift, and it's not going to be the same. Now, we are very resilient, and I think it's very important to be resilient at a point in time like this, because none of this stuff might be very good. I mean, if this don't happen, and you have a conservative, flavor to you, dude, get ready for them gulags, brother. Because if you ain't read the Gulag Archipelago, this looks a lot like a Bolshevik revolution. Just saying. I'm just saying. Because, think about the Gulag Archipelago. Russia, prior to 1917, there was just Russians under the, they had the whole, whatever type of government they had with the, what they call them, the czars, Khazars. Those people were living their life. I mean, maybe their situation wasn't great, but it was something. And it wasn't conceivable that within 10 years, people would be put into labor camps and tortured creatively. And when I say tortured creatively, that means they were like going to the drawing board and figuring out ways to maximize the torture. So you could force somebody to confess to being this or that. And that's a lot of the reason, or a lot of it was due to the abandonment of an objective truth. They rejected, it was a sense of relativism where there was nothing that was rooted in a transcendent truth. There was no transcendent truth. So what that means is my word, your word, what you see, what I see, what you feel, what I feel, doesn't matter. They're both equally as true or equally as false. When I say, man, the sky's blue, and you say, well, the sky's not blue, it's, crimson or something, whatever. And, there was no way, like, your true is my true. There is no difference. Like, there's no real truth. Like, when I say I did not do that, and you say, well, no, you did do that, doesn't matter. Whoever has the power is true, or gets to arbitrate the truth, I guess. So that's troubling, because it went from 0 to 100 real quick. Okay, as it were. And I just wanted to say that, as it were. I like that. I like saying that. I need to figure out what's the real context I should use that, because I like that. So, it got crazy quick, real bad, real bad, real quick. And there had to have been a time where people started to notice that things were changing, that things were probably a bit unacceptable, that, they see people being persecuted for things that they believe in, and they know for sure that those people are not bad people, and all they did was step aside and keep silent because they did not want to be the next target. And I see that happening here. And so for anyone to say, it's not that serious, bro, I mean, are you sure? Do you know that? Do you know the depth of what is happening? I don't think you do, if you do take that position. And if you don't take the Bolshevik Revolution and the gulags in Russia seriously, there is a serious threat for that to be something that we might get a small taste of in some way, shape, or form. Who knows? And I don't want to get myself pigeonholed into talking political, but it's kind of hard to ignore the elephant in the room. I mean, things are not the greatest, and I think there's a very high potential for things to get even more not great, right? And that's not me being cynical, but you have to acknowledge that what is going down is not ideal, okay? And you can, well, it was Trump that made it this way. It's his fault to begin with. No, I mean, I just would firmly disagree with that, because his presence was what do you pour to make the worms pop out? Oh, damn, what is it? I mean, hydrochloric acid. I don't know. Like, you got like some dirt and you can pour some chemical in it, and then the worms just manifest, right? Well, he is that chemical, right? He is very corrosive. He's very, he is a hazardous material. But what it did was it forced these people to show their hand. It forced them to manifest their deeper, darker side. And so here we are, and we see it. We see it plainly. And it doesn't stop here. People are like, well, he can still do a press briefing if he wanted to. Like, okay. I mean, at that point, you're just rationalizing insanity, because the act to begin with, objectively, is a net bad for our nation. It does nothing but just get the crazies more crazy. Both sides got crazies. And so the majority are going to be calm and just say, let's not go kill each other. That's the majority. And don't forget that, because the media gives a mouthpiece to the spirit of chaos more times than not. And they stoke the fire. Everybody, it doesn't matter. Nobody's free of sin. Nobody can cast the stone because nobody is free of sin. And that is something that if we all acknowledged kind of collectively, that ain't nobody perfect, but something that is a necessity would be, we have to agree on some form of a collective ideal that we can all aspire to achieve. Speaking nationally, that would have to be some form of individual freedoms, free speech in the absolute form. Absolution of free speech has to be that way. Because without that opens all the doors for the rest of the freedoms to get taken away. And if you think that sounds crazy, well, then I think you probably need to take a harder and more thoughtful and more unbiased view, politically unbiased view into human nature. Because it's not going to stop here. If it's allowed to, right? Obviously, if some crazy old fucking military plan pops out of nowhere, hey, Superman, thank you. I honestly, in some ways, I have very split feelings on it all. I don't feel like judgment of that nature would be reserved for any type of man. I think that judgment on man and on the evil of this world is only going to be carried out by one person. And that is the person of Christ. And I mentioned that last go around. And yeah, that's just, that's part of who I am. And I definitely will get further into that. And I'm on an intellectual level. And because of that, the biblical worldview that I hold, there are things about this current time that have red flags to no end, right? Namely, if we are in what the Bible would describe as the end times, there is a period of time which you can consider the time of the end. And, if we are there, the scripture does not allow for a period of time in which things get better for humanity. It only gets worse. It gets worse until God's wrath is fulfilled on the corruption of the earth. And so for this to end with us being freer, happier, and more, just overall in a better place, a year from now, then I would really rethink my analysis of this being near the end. I know some people say that the scripture also says that if we can repent and then, collectively return to God, then he'll heal the land and then, deliver us from that evil. But don't want to be cynical there. I mean, anything's possible, but, sometimes it just doesn't seem like that would be something that's, you could say it is a possibility, but is that something that is more likely than the latter, right? I don't think so. Anyways, as I said before, I probably won't post this. I don't need to be digging my nose in all this garbage. But it is what it is. And if I do post it and you have made it this far, well, that's that, man. That's those things that I have on my brain. And I just want to reiterate, this ain't my lifeblood. This ain't my prediction. This is me laying out plainly what I'm dealing with on a thought level, right? These are the things that I, it's where my life has brought me at this point. Doesn't mean I'm a crazy right winger. It doesn't mean any of those things. I'm a very understanding human being, and I love humanity, and I love life. I love the Lord. I love love, and I love being a good person. And those are the things that I hold dear. And I love being a good father. And I love those things. And I love butterflies too. So I don't want to get pigeonholed or labeled or those things. But, if people feel the necessity to smash me with some type of thing because of those thoughts, thoughts are contraband. You can't have them. So, in mine especially, I know, because people are dropping like flies for them. So, but I do, if you think that it is some type of crazy right-wing stuff, then go here. I told you, quack.news, man. That's a place you can look. See for yourself. Tell me what you believe. And we can go from there, because it's about time for me to get off here and return to my normal life. And over and out. I think I'm going to probably trash this one. It's not a good one. Not a good look, brother. Anyways, holler at your boy. Skirt, skirt.